Hey guys, Matt Baker, the co-founder of the HMO platform here. I'm here with two of our clients who've been with us now for about 18 months and they're currently working on roughly about £1.5 million worth of deals from next level HMOs to care homes. Two fantastic guys, Max and Alex from Stuart Properties. Hi guys, how you doing?
Not too bad, how are you?
I'm very well. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you've come from up to this point.
Okay, so like we said, I'm Max Rayner,
director
of Stuart Clinton Property. Stuart Clinton Property started in 2017 with myself and Alex. It's quite a cool story actually because we've been best mates since we were 5. And it's kind of a bad story turned good. You'll notice that the company is not named after us. It's actually a legacy in our father's names. So my dad was called Stuart, Alex's dad was called Clinton, and they sadly passed away. So we're able to continue their name and do some amazing things in property, which is cool. So we got together and basically said, we don't want to work for anyone anymore. We don't like the 9 till 5 model. We've watched two guys that haven't lived out their lives properly, die young, and not be able to experience everything. So that's how we built the business. With that in mind, we knew property was absolutely amazing for passive income and can allow us to do all these cool things. So it started from there. We built up a very good portfolio of HMOs and co-living properties, and we're now niching and focusing down on co-living and also modern care homes, specifically for mental health, which is very close to our hearts, and it's our bigger mission as a company in both our co-living homes and our care homes to be able to provide nice, happy places for people to live, because there are still a lot of properties out there where people are being crammed in and living in very poor conditions. So one property at a time, we're doing our best to put that right and help people, and that's our core value as a business.
Excellent. And so what types of properties have you done before this one?
Sure.
What type of size and...
Yeah. So, I mean, we've inherited a couple of buy-to-lets down south where we live, but since we've gone professional about 3 years ago, we've been focusing solely on HMOs in the Midlands. Our usual bag of tenant is blue-collar working professional, but Coventry, where we are right now, is very much a uni town, so we've also got that type of tenant that we can go for. This property that we're stood in right here is our biggest one yet. It's going to be a 6-bed HMO. Tenant type again, we'll look to working professionals, but we're in CV1 here, we're right in the centre of town. Any sort of tenant could work, but this type of HMO is typically what we'd do.
Of course, tell me a bit more about this project. What's your plans with the, you've talked about 6 bedrooms, but it's got planning, hasn't it, to be something larger?
The great thing about this property is we picked it up prior to auction, which you can do. A lot of people don't know you can do that, but you can actually put offers in and secure deals if the vendor wants to do it and the property not go to auction. And it wasn't actually published online, but this property came with planning for a 7-bed, 7-ensuite HMO, sui generis HMO, which is great. We would have loved to have carried that out if we could, but the issue was the costs were starting to run out of control, and to be able to mould it into a 7-bed and still get the return for ourselves and our investors that we wanted, we decided to go with the 6-bed option and have a nice to do for later, where we could potentially turn it into a 7/8-bed HMO. This will make a lovely co-living HMO to begin with. We're working with our architect to future-proof this. As we explained before, our areas of expertise are next level HMOs and also care homes. Now, in the blueprint, we can work with our architect to make sure it complies for both. Then we don't need to worry if demand for one drops off, because we can flip it over to the other one with not much cost, and it will be quite an easy process.
So what's the difference between the compliance for your care home versus what you might provide for a next level HMO?
Actually not too different.
Difference isn't massive, no, at all.
So there'll be a lot more, the room sizes vary slightly, but to be honest, all the health and safety, the fire regs, the compliance regulations that you'd find of a HMO is the same within CQC. Well, the operator is the most important thing. But really it's just a slight difference in room sizes and a few other minors, so not a lot. And the big one is obviously you have to change the use, you have to go through planning. But you've just got to think about the tenant first So imagine it being a care home, and you need to learn how the care home operates so you can decide which room's useful for which. You quite often need offices. So having that planned out in our heads to change in the future will be easy for us.
Cool. And how is the property laid out to maximise it for the tenants?
Sure. So yeah, this property is across 3 floors. It also has a cellar, which we would like to use, but maybe somewhere down the line we'll get that involved. So we've got 2 massive bedrooms on the ground floor. It's a HMO developer's dream, massive long lounge area, split it down the middle, 2 great size en suites there. Come up 1 floor, you've got the room we're in here, the front bedroom, again massive, the high ceilings help. You couldn't reach it if you tried. So we've got 1, 2 and then 3 at the back. Again, these will be big double en suites. All of our rooms are going to be 13 square metres plus, not including en suites. So it's going to be a really, really comfortable property. And then you go up 1 more time and we've got a massive bedroom at the front, and then we're going to knock through into the back and there's going to be like a communal cinema room up there. So yeah, something we're really, really keen to have in this property is to utilise the space and get some good communal space. Because what you see a lot of the times in HMOs is they'll push for the maximum amount of bedrooms that they can possibly get because they're prioritising the profit. Whereas we want to flip that, prioritise the tenant, give them communal space, big bedrooms, big en suites, and give them somewhere to stay for a long time. And we think that the layout of this property as it is should serve us well for that.
Yeah. Especially with the current issues of corona and more fluid working, we're seeing a lot more of our professionals working from home. Certainly the postgrads that we get that have just got their shiny new job in the city, they're now working from a desk on their laptop. So providing larger rooms above and beyond the regulation is more important to us. Because at the end of the day, if our tenants are happy, we're happy, right? And we'd rather long-term tenants that we can build up good relationships with than people just coming and leaving every 3 to 6 months. It's really important.
Yeah, it's as we say, the HMO platform, having tenants who stay and pay.
Yeah,
exactly.
So tell us a bit about the numbers. What did you buy it for? How much are you spending on it? What's it worth? What's your turnover, etc.?
Yeah, sure. So like Max said, we picked it up before auction. We were ready to go to the auction. And we were in touch with the auctioneers, and it was probably about an hour before the auction was due to start. We managed to secure the deal. Yeah, under market value. We didn't want to get ourselves into a bidding war, so we were lucky to avoid that, definitely. All of the properties that we buy them under market value, just like this one here. In terms of refurb, 75,000 for the refurb, isn't it?
Yeah, 75k. With a bit of, we've allowed for some contingency on top. So yeah, the refurb 75,000. We bought this for 240, so we'll be spending 75,000 on it. And we've had a surveyor tell us worst case scenario it's going to be 360k. So a lovely 120k uplift on that. But we know that we could probably push this closer towards the 400 mark, and that would be amazing. But with COVID and everything going on at the moment, we don't know where it's going. So we've got to work off worst case. And if you're happy with worst case, then we're happy. Then if you're happy with worst case and it works, right, you're not going to get any surprises and lose money. That's where the amateurs fare from the professionals. Profit on this one, so we'll be taking $2,000 a month net profit, so that's about 24k a year. Excellent. On one property. So yeah, we're really excited to get that in our pocket.
So how are you financing this deal?
So this particular property has been purchased by one of our private investors. A little bit of our own equity that we managed to create from another deal. 75% loan to value for the building and 100% of the works by one of our private investors that we work with. We've got a pool of trusted people now, from family members to ex-colleagues to small business owners that don't know much about property, and we can give them a return on their cash and show them how property works, basically, because at the moment you're getting nothing in the bank. And then long term we will refinance at the new loan to value once we've completed the refurb. The investors will get their money paid back and we will keep the property. Failing that, we can sell it and make about a 10% profit on sale. So we've got options, but ideally that'll be worst case scenario. Ideally we'd keep it long term.
So at the HMO platform we have the type of property is the next level HMO. So how are you going to make this property a next level HMO?
Sure, well I think the property itself gives a great canvas for a next level HMO. Like we touched on earlier, we're big on making our tenants feel comfortable. Mental health is very important to us, making sure that people are in a good place mentally. The size of this property, like I've spoken about before, lends itself perfectly to a next level HMO. We're going to look in depth at some technical design, some really nice interiors, and just make it a home rather than a HMO.
We don't want our HMOs to be in the category of what a lot of people's HMOs fall into, and that is someone rents a room and they're just renting a room and they don't know the person in room number 2, number 3. Room number 5 has stolen, room number 6 is rice. They're all going to hopefully know each other, and that'll be sold using the high level of agent that we use. We tend to use HMO specialists that know how to sell a community.
So you guys have been with the Mastermind for a while now. What would you say the top 3 benefits that you've had from it, and how have you incorporated it into this project and the other projects that you do?
Sure, I think the main one that we find is accountability. We've got such a great team, family, whatever you want to call it, support structure of everyone that's part of the HMO platform. Everyone's talking to each other constantly, every day, every week. How's this going? How's that going? You can't get away with slacking and being lazy, basically, because someone's always on your back. Where was that deal that you showed me? Why haven't you offered on this? Why haven't you offered on that? And having that push and that team behind you, willing you forward, has made the world of difference to us. It really has.
Number 2, I would say, and the most important thing for me, is having answers. I am not one of those people that will sit for hours and research how to do something. So I like when we come across a problem, as opposed to wasting days worrying about how do we do this, you can literally put your problem into a WhatsApp group and within minutes, hours, it's been solved, or at least your anxiety has been pushed down, because what you think's a big problem, someone else has come across it before and can lead you across that obstacle. And that's really important to me, that it's like 24/7, any issue, bang, straight in the group, it's resolved. I think that's pretty special.
Absolutely. And on top of that as well, the experts that you guys get in to help us on any subject under the sun related to property, we've pretty much had. And not only that hour and a half, 2 hours that we get with them there, it's the continued contact. We've then got their email and their number, and they're happy to help us as and when we need. And I think, the contacts that you guys have put us in touch with have been invaluable.
Number 3, everyone's doing it. Although we are all learning, it doesn't feel like a classroom. Everyone is actively investing, learning from each other and growing together, and that's really important. It's not like you and Niall are standing there in front of a whiteboard and you're at school. It's great how everyone chips in and gets involved and helps each other and gives you inspiration, because if someone else has just bought a property, you're a bit like, oh, I'm gonna get one now, and then it sort of has that snowball effect.
And how have you incorporated what you've learnt and what you've encountered in the HMO Platform Mastermind into this project?
So the tenant first model that you guys have taught us is wholly ingrained into pretty much everything we do now. This property right here, we could have quite easily crammed 8 bedrooms into here and been laughing all the way to the bank. But in reality, long term, we're going to be better off having 6 happy, solid tenants than having 8 rooms, but 3 are empty, people are arguing, there's no space. Profit-wise, in the long term, having 6 happy tenants, you're going to be much better off than just cramming people in as much as you can.
And I would second that and say the confidence to actually go larger every time, because you're dealing with large amounts of money. There is definitely mental boundaries that you start second guessing it and going, can we do that? Is it? But the confidence of watching everyone else do larger deals, knowing that they're possible. We wouldn't be doing a property this big if we hadn't learned and been given the confidence by the HMO platform.
So cheers guys, and thanks for showing us around the property. And for you guys watching, if you want to find out more about what we do, these types of projects, properties, and to get involved in next level HMOs, then click on the link in or around this video for more information.